Treat, and this is Stitchers TV. And today, do you know what we're going to make today? We are going to make some wonderful aprons. I got this amazing fabric from an area in Paris called Marche Saint-Pierre. Probably not pronouncing that correctly, but look at this. This is the shop. It's called Dreyfus. It's got 4 floors of fabric. Yes, 4 floors of fabric. And there are probably about 6 shops in that area. So this is actually African material. And don't you think that this one really looks like some sort of Lucy and Day fabric from the sort of 50s? But you can use any African fabric so long as you mix it up a little bit so it looks a little bit cool. So look what I did here. So you could do whatever you want, but I've used one colour for the frill, one pattern for the frill. I used the same then for the pocket and the waistband, and then I've got a contrast on the main part of it. Right, for the main section here, what you have to do is you've got to cut a rectangle. My rectangle is say about 75 by about 37, and then you get that and you've got to fold it over, and then you just cut off that corner and make it into more of a curve. And then remember how much I love my notches, so you've got to do your center notch at the top and at the bottom. Now for my pocket, let's measure my pocket. My pocket is roughly 22, and then I've allowed a little bit extra for the hem there. So say my pocket is about 26 by 26. It's actually a square. So now what we have to do, we have to cut the section that's going to be the frill. But you know what? One of the reasons why I use this African material is because I just love the selvage. They normally have, look at this lovely colour on here. So that means that I don't have to do a hem, which is a wicked bargain. So for this apron today, I've got two lengths of selvage, which is the edge of the fabric, because I love it, remember, because it has that nice little edge on it. I've got 2 lengths of 120, even though mine says 119, and I'm going to join those together, and they're going to be the frill that goes all the way around the edge. Now remember, we don't need to do a hem because we're keeping this lovely selvage. So for my waistband, I used a length that was 160 centimetres, and then the width of the waistband I've done 10 centimetres, because then you're going to lose some when you put it in the seam. We've cut all our pieces out, so we're ready to sew. Now the first thing that we need to do is to press our pocket into shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold a little hem and then another little hem, and then we're just going to press that like that, because then it will be easier to sew. Right, while you're here, look, I'm going to press these bits in as well. I'm going to press all the side bits in of the pockets as well, so they're going to be all ready to sew as well, and then I don't have to come back to the iron again. So the first thing that I'm going to do is do the hem on the pocket. That's this bit here on the pocket. Okay, so I've done the hem, so that was quick, that's easy. Now I'm going to get my old trusty Bonder web out. I talk about it all the time. Instead of using pins, I'll use Bonder web or even double-sided sticky tape to hold it in place, because I never ever use pins, or hardly ever use pins. Right, so we're still doing the pocket, but what I like to do is I cut Bonder web very, very thin. Can you see that? And what I'm going to do is, using an iron, I'm just going to put it all the way around the edge and press it, and then go along there and press it, so make it straight, and press it, and then come up here. But you know what, be really careful, because it's an absolute nightmare if it goes on your iron. I don't know if anybody else does this, but why are they not doing it? Why use pins? Use Bonder web and then sew. Look how great that is. It's now all held in place, ready for me to sew. Why would I not do that? Now, what we need to do first of all, you don't have to do this, but am I a perfectionist? I don't know. I like to do these funny little triangle things here, but you know what? Because it's all glued on, you're going to have no problem. You just start there, come up, come across, and then go all the way round and then up the other side and do the same on the other side. And it will be easy because this is glued. Okay. So look, I've started by the seam, I'm coming up, and then I'm just going to go backwards. And then look, I just go all the way around. It's really easy. So look, pocket. How easy is that? What does that take? 5 minutes? It's really easy. Now, we're going to take those 2 long strips, which are for our frill, and we're going to join them together, right sides together. And look, I really enjoy all of that writing on the selvage. I love it and those numbers. But if you don't like it, then you can always do a hem. Right, now what you have to do is you've got to gather it, because that's going to be the frill, isn't it? That's going to go around the apron, look. So we need to gather it. So that's using your largest straight stitch on the sewing machine. But do it in 2 bits, because if the thread breaks, it's an absolute nightmare. Okay. So what we're going to do now for the frill is we're going to stitch about 1 centimetre away on our largest straight stitch, coming all the way along. We're going to stop at the middle, no backwards and forwards, because you won't be able to pull those threads. And then start again, do the same from the middle, going all the way down to the other end. We've got to pull one of the threads, but not both of the threads, so that we get this gathering magic going on. So I'm just pulling the bottom thread, and then just slowly and carefully pushing this along. It's just like doing the rufflet on your curtains. These are just like mini curtains. It's so easy, look. But just do it carefully, carefully, and you'll be fine. So look what I've done. I've gathered it, look, there's the edge, so I've gathered it and I've placed it around here just to make it more or less fit. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you'll just chop it off if it's too long. But what we need to do, we need to put it right sides together, good old right sides together. Now what you will find when you go to sew it, I recommend sewing on this side, by the way, so you can stitch exactly on that line. When you do so, some of these bits will go underneath, so take care there. You want to pull them out and make them like that. So where you're going to sew is as close onto that line as possible. If you have to be anything, be over it rather than behind it. Okay, so look, I've got this little bit extra, but you know what? I'm just going to leave it and then I'll just chop it off afterwards. So look how I'm sewing. Just outside, inside, I don't know. Is that inside or outside? I don't know. Anyway, there, of that line. So I'm just going to go all the way to the end with my noisy sewing machine that probably needs oiling. Backwards and forwards. Should we have a look? Wow, look at that. Now when you press it, it really does get flattened. I mean, you don't want it too flat. But look how brilliant that is. But before we press it, what do we have to do? Zigzag. We have to zigzag the edges. We've got to zigzag the edges. Now when you do it this way round rather than that way round, so that you can see that you're capturing all the frill. Straight stitch. Now I'm using the width of my sewing foot as my guide, and I'm just keeping it to the edge as I go around, look, like that, all the way around. Right, so done my top stitching. Look, beautiful top stitching. It looks better when it's pressed, but we'll do that towards the end. So I know where my centre is. What I'm going to do, oh, scissors. What I'm going to do now is we have to just gather this in a little bit. Okay, so it's like this here. Okay, so to do gathering, remember it's your largest stitch, no backwards and forwards. We're doing it about 1 centimetre away from the waist line, and off we go. Right, something I forgot to say. When I do the gathering, and I'm not starting on the frill, I'm starting on the main part of the apron, okay, just there, and I'm finishing on the main part of the apron over there. Now what we have to do, we pull one of the threads, not both of the threads, remember, and we just gather until you get to the sort of size that you want it to be. And I'm now going to get my waistband ready. So always want to know where the centre is. So I've folded it over. I'm going to do a little notch and another little notch. Okay, and then I'm going to match that, if I can get hold of it. Right sides together. I'm going to match, oh, where is it? I'm going to match that notch up with the notch that I made for the centre on the apron. And I'm going to sew this way round, on the gathered way round side. I'm going to sew from that centre notch, going all the way out to the edge there, and I'm going to stop there. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. But sew, make sure you're sewing on the gathered side. So look, I've stitched it on. It actually looks really nice wide. I wish I made it that wide now. Never mind, I haven't. But if you want to make it wider, look, remember how nice it looks. So can you see that? All that we've done is just attach it to our waistband. Now what you have to do, just take my word for it, okay? You need to take this to the ironing board just because it will make your life easier. And you want to press this, starting from there, dead flat, okay, going all the way to here, because it really will make your job easier. So look, I've pressed it inside out purely and simply because I've got to sew from there, not catching that frill, from there going all the way down and then doing like a nice pointy thing. Right, so we've stitched the tie. Now we've got to turn it inside out. So I lick my fingers a little bit just to start it off, because it can be a bit tricky to start it off. I'm going to put the scissors in there, and then I'm going to start easing it over the scissors like that. There it is, it's going to come out there. Okay, can you see that? Does that make sense to you?
No.
So that's the end of the scissors bit. So I'll hold on to that. I don't let go, because otherwise I've got to start all over again. Start easing this down, and then look, you've done your tie. So do the same on the other side. Now when we were doing that long tube for the tie, in the trade we would have actually done it so that we included all of this as well, but I think that's a little bit involved for you. So what we're going to do, we're going to press the ties, and whilst we press the ties we're going to press these back as well, hem those back, put some bonder web there so they're ready to hand sew or to be top stitched. Here's the amazing funky apron. Now how long did that take, Esther? Half an hour?
Bit more.
No, okay, maybe 35 minutes. But look how wonderful that is. And imagine the possibilities. Thanks a lot for watching Stitches TV. See you next time. Bye.